Always seek knowledge, even unto China.
Just tell me how old you are and just a little bit about your family.
You should see the people within my field. They think I'm all 15.
What do you do?
I kind of manage like the direction of our local party. Everyone has a people. Your job in this world is to help those people. I can sign a bill that helps 50,000 people instead of just one at a time. Like, is that not the most efficient way to do it?
But you should speak up. There's so many hadiths that actually support that.
A lot of the success I have to attribute to just being present. Like, that's half the battle.
You hear it a lot about the kids in the back, like running around. Like, it's okay. Best unbiased news source. Tell me a favorite ayah or hadith that resonates with you. Best US president of all time.
It's one that we never had.
You need to phone a friend. Who are you calling? Assalamu alaikum. Thank you for tuning in to Up Close and Shia podcast, where we have Shia personalities from a variety of different backgrounds and a variety of different professional experiences, so we can serve them as role models for the next generation. With that, my guest today is in a practice that's quite untapped, and that is political science. We have somebody from politics here today. I am honored to host Akbar Ali. Without any further ado, Akbar Ali, assalamu alaikum, and thank you for accepting our invitation.
Walaikum assalam, of course.
It's great to have you. I can't wait to dive into today's topic. So let's just start with a little bit of family background. Just tell me how old you are and just a little bit about your family.
So I'm only 20 years old at the moment, right? You should see the people within my field. They think I'm all 15. I guess it'll help me when I'm 40 years old. You know?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
Both sides of my family came from Pakistan, Karachi, and they moved over in the early 90s, that kind of time frame. And we've been living within Atlanta, Georgia for a majority of my life, with brief kind of times within California and Florida as well.
Okay, I was going to say, because so we, like my family, I was 8 years old when we moved to Atlanta in 94. I don't remember the family back. Were you guys here in 94? You probably were not even born in 94.
No, I was born in 04.
You were born in 04, 10 years later. Yeah, so when did you guys move to Atlanta?
I believe it was 2003.
Okay, so a year before you were born. Okay,
yes.
Cool. So 2000, I'm not going to date myself anymore. I was going to make a comment around 2003, but I'll leave that alone. Okay, so you're currently attending college.
Yes.
What year are you in, and what are you majoring in?
So I'm attending college at Kennesaw State. Okay. It's within the Metro Atlanta area. I'm currently studying political science with a minor in public relations. When I told people about that, they were like, "How did you choose like the two of the most like perceived to be slimy fields out there?" And I was like, I promise you they're not. But I am 2 semesters away from graduating. I'm a junior, so I'll be graduating a little early. Okay. Yeah, but that's
okay. Kennesaw State. Yeah, no, that's a staple here within the metro. Of course, you have the major D1 colleges, right? But Kennesaw State is a big one as well. They've got their football program now. They've got a basketball program. So they're definitely climbing up the ranks.
Yeah, definitely a growing university.
Yeah.
Like, you saw that when their acceptance rate went down.
Yeah. And my sister graduated from there as well. So no, quite familiar with, walking around that campus. It was nice, even back then. Yeah. So let's get right into it. So help our audience, help me understand your role with the Democratic Party. And in layman's terms, what do you do? So what is your role? Help us understand it. And what is it that you really do?
Basically put every single county within Georgia has a Democratic and a Republican Party, right? Because of our system. And within Gwinnett County, there's the heads of the party, there's the second in command, and so on and so forth, right? I am the second in command of the Gwinnett Democratic Party. Yeah. So the entire county, I am the first vice chair of that county party, meaning that like I coordinate things with our legislators. I help run campaigns. I kind of manage like the direction of our local party, the kind of like, what issues are we going to target? Where do we need the most help? Like if a couple months ago when the election was happening, let's take, for example, a local race within Suwannee. Okay. And that's the most competitive one within all of Georgia. So I would help.
Is that real?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
okay.
House District 99. Yeah.
Okay.
And so the Democratic candidate for
Pardon
that
my
race,
ignorance.
no, you're good, you're good. This is like most people don't know their
Sure, of
own like
course.
state representative, which like is part of my mission to help change. But within Swanee, like the Democratic candidate would need help, and so I would help like coordinate some of this stuff. These are what doors we need to knock. These are what issues we need to talk about. This is how we win that district.
And is that
Mhm.
this service, so this example that you just
Mhm.
gave around helping, the
Mhm.
Democratic
Mhm.
candidate, whether he's
Mhm.
the incumbent
Yes.
or obviously going for that role,
Mhm.
is your role within Gwinnett County, or does it
Mhm.
expand to Democratic, candidates or current legislators,
Mhm.
supporting them throughout
Mhm.
Georgia, or is it Gwinnett County specific?
So my jurisdiction is within Gwinnett County in
Got it.
particular.
Okay.
However, I mean, there's always some overlap. Like if we feel the need to ever like aid someone over in Cobb or someone in Atlanta, right? Then we could do that.
And I'm sure there's some
Yeah.
level of
Yeah,
collaboration.
of course, right?
Yeah.
Like all of
From
us like are
messaging, because
involved.
I'm sure the messaging has to be
Yes.
aligned to.
Yeah, and sometimes like if a district is like in both counties or something of that sort, like then we collaborate with our fellow people over in Fulton, or there's always a role up in there like with the state party or something. It's like we have our little like, it's all so connected. There's so much connective tissue in this thing that you never just have one role. Like it's kind of
Sure,
like you do
wearing many
whatever,
hats.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, like my job description on by technicality is I just am the understudy for whoever is the head of the party, but like I get assigned all kinds of things, right? And
Sure,
I like
sure.
kind of take on all kinds of things because kind of veering off for a moment, right? Like my philosophy is that like if you have a role that doesn't have a big description, you can either sit on your laurels and just be, oh, I don't need to do anything. I can just stay here and not do
Sure.
anything. Or you can be, I can make this into something that
You define the
else.
role.
Yes,
Yeah.
right. It's kind of like a clock. A clock is just two hands that just point to
Sure.
numbers. You give it the meaning that it has the time.
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's something that even within, a life lesson, but also in corporate culture,
Yeah.
you define kind of what your role is and you define the success. So I remember I'd recently started a new job as well. And the manager had asked me to write my 30, 60, and 90-day plan based on, obviously the interview process and what I think the role is.
Yeah.
It was probably more of a test, to make
Sure.
sure I
Yeah.
understand it. But no, to totally get that. That's amazing. So I guess, sticking in the same realm, this is a very interesting topic. As I mentioned earlier, a topic that's untapped within our Shia community and really, I think just Muslims at large, especially here in the West. So why politics? Like what made you get in and just an overarching why?
So I've been asked this many times because like,
Okay.
as you said, it's like so unorthodox. It's so like, well, why are you there?
True.
Right? Especially when, as at least my country of origin, I mean, politics is not looked very nicely upon.
Absolutely not. It definitely carries a stigma.
Yeah. But the reason I chose it is because like we all have a people. Like my personal philosophy is we all have a people, whether that be the Shia community, whether that be people that live in Gwinnett, whether that be your country or whatever that be like your race or whatever have you, right? Everyone has a people. And your job in this world is to help those people or to do the best that you can do to advance those people to the next level. And that's why I'm here. Like I can be a doctor, I can be an engineer, I can be many things. But if I am a doctor, I can help one patient at a time. Sure, I can change the lives of like many people that way, directly and indirectly. But if I am in government and if I have a voice that can represent these people and advocate for the issues in a place where is designed to do so, and if I can sign a bill that like helps 50,000 people instead of just one at a time, like is that not the most efficient way to do it? Is that
sure?
Not?
Yeah, no, that's
yeah. And if you're like, I've been blessed with many gifts. I've been blessed with like a good home life, opportunity where I live, and various things. And so like I feel like it would be a disservice for me not to use these opportunities to the best of their ability, like to not make the most of it, because I know many people don't get that opportunity and many people don't get the opportunities that I have. And so like it would be, in my mind, it would be wrong for me to kind of squander that. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's a beautiful answer. You kind of got me convinced as well.
Thank you.
But yeah, no, it rationally, like logically makes sense. That's a beautiful answer. And again, you kind of mentioned this right now, where the perceived sort of stigma around politics, right? Not just abroad, right? Back in our homelands and Middle East and Pakistan, obviously, where both you and I are have our original family backgrounds. But even here in the West, right? This the stigma around politics, like overall, just it's there, it's needed. Obviously, our own Aimma, when obviously Imam Ali alayhi salam became the Khalifa, Zahiri Khalifa. He was a man in power, right? And like from an official perspective, right? Or the worldly terms of it. But overall, like there's just that's not something, there's a quote unquote like unsaid thing, like that's not something we play with, right? Like politics. And again, when you add the stigma around it. So to that sort of, thinking, what would you, and I think your answer right there was already beautiful enough, but how would you maybe explain it to, first or even second and third generation now being brought up here in the West, where they do need to assimilate, within obviously not just the culture and where we live, but also try to make an impact, to your point around if I can impact the lives in a positive way and more efficiently. What would you say to anyone that's really listening that to remove that stigma and some of the misconceptions that are there?
So what I would say is this: wherever you are in life, politics is always going to be in your periphery. Like it's always going to be there, because ultimately, like, it's just debating life and the status of where you are. And so if you choose to, like, it is your choice if you want to stay away from it, right? But that just means you're consenting to whatever goes on there. Like you're saying, okay, that's fine. I'm fine with whatever the choices are made for me. And so would you not want a say in that? Would you not want to, at least, even if you don't, even if it doesn't end up working in your favor, at least you can have the satisfaction of saying, I tried. Like you cannot sit on the sidelines. Like I'm the kind of person where like I'm not just gonna like sit on the sidelines and just take what's given to me. I'm going to advocate for what I need. If our community needs better economic assistance, if our community needs better representation, if our community needs like even something as small as like a zoning law change so that we can build like
that Abbas had to go through
something,
exactly.
Right? Like would you not want someone who is aligned with your interest in the seat of power so that you can work with them instead of just someone else? Like you see these different groups in our country, in our area, especially within Gwinnett County. This is like the new crossroads of America. We're I believe in the top 3 most diverse counties within the entire country.
Absolutely. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. And so, in this area, like you see like every group out there has some sort of representation, some sort of a foothold into it. And so I don't get the belief where it's like it's not meant for us, because it's meant for everybody. You're here and you have a right, and you should advocate for your people in your community. And it's possible, like I believe I'm the only Shia Muslim in this field, but I'm certainly not the last. And I can guarantee you that.
Inshallah, yes, inshallah.
And
that's why we have you on our show.
Thank you. But yeah, like it's growing, and it's all there. Like we have a Palestinian state representative within Gwinnett County, Representative Ruhr Rahman, and we also have many Muslim legislators. We have many Asian legislators. We have many Black. We have many white. Like all types of people have their foot in the door, except for ours. And so like it's almost like business. Like if you see a niche, you should fill it, right? Because there's a need for that. And so when I am talking to some people that are disillusioned from it, and that is your choice, that is like rightfully so, the thing that I would tell them is you're always going to be on the menu. And so at least you can be the chef, like to determine like what is served, right? Or at least have a say in it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, your analogies thus far are amazing.
Thank you.
But no, that's a beautiful answer. And it just reminds me, as you were mentioning, when you're part of a community, and I'm not talking about just like Shia community, but you're part of a population, you're part of a city, you're part of a structure, some form of governance for citizens of the United States, if you sit in silence, right, you're part of whatever,
Yeah.
right, whether it's good or it's bad, but
Yes.
in this case, obviously referring to bad.
Like we
But you
only,
should speak up. There's so many
yes.
hadiths that actually support that.
Right. Like we only got policies that benefit our community, like the ACA or the Affordable Care Act or other things like that, because people went out and made it vocal. People went out and said, "We need this." Like with our own Imam Barga,
Yes.
like we only did that because we went to City Hall. We
Yeah.
talked to these councilors, we talked to the mayor, and said, "Hey, we need this." And we need to be able to do that. Like, imagine a world where we didn't get involved in that. Where
Sure.
we just kind of sit there and just be like, okay, I guess we can't do it. What? Like, would you want to live in that reality? Like, no.
Sure. Yeah. No.
Right?
Yeah. Absolutely. No. That's a beautiful answer. So let me ask you this, and coming back to like you as the individual, your aspiration, right? So you're in it. Obviously, you're majoring in dual majoring in political science as well as you mentioned.
Oh, it's a minor in public relations.
Minor in public relations. Got you. So as you continue to pursue this, and obviously you sound very passionate about this topic anyhow, so your aspirations, your goals, like how far do you want to go? Do you want to represent at the state level, at the national level? But have you kind of mapped out a journey for you and where you want to take it?
So starting out, in any field, in any passion, right? Starting out, you can dream big, you can do
And
a
you
lot
should.
of things.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and absolutely you
Yeah.
should, right? But one thing I learned about this field is that it's so unpredictable and you can't really plan for many things, right? But at the same time, you should aim high. Like,
Sure.
is there a position that I would like? I can't really name anything because like, I would like to just represent my people to the best of their abilities. Whatever like position allows me to do that, that's what I want to do, right? But like actually like planning for a specific office, I would argue that it would kind of chain you in. It would box you in and kind of not allow you to be as flexible within this specific field anyway. Like, I am first vice chair of Gwinnett Democrats. Did I plan to be? No, I didn't. Yeah, there was suddenly a special election. What happened was that over the summer, there was a special election because the previous one resigned for personal reasons. And people were looking around for other candidates. There were many people who stood, but several people came up to me and said, like, "We want someone young. We want someone, like a new voice, like someone different, right? Would you want to do it?" And initially I was like kind of hesitant because, it's not something that I ever envisioned myself to be, but it's fully something that I ended up embracing because, again, when there is a need, then it is your duty to do the best to fill it. And so, like that's kind of like, I know it sounds like such a politician answer, right? But like I can't name a position.
Sure. Okay.
Because you just can't plan for one.
Sure. No, and inshallah, I mean, whatever, of course, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has written for you, inshallah, it'll find you, of course. And to close off the first segment, before we go into our next segment, is how does, of course, our faith, right, like keep you grounded in this field that, sure, to all your points that you've already stated, we should have a voice and speak up for justice and do the right things that benefit people at large, which obviously Shia population would benefit from as well. So with even all that said, like, how does faith keep your values balanced and keep you grounded while you navigate this tough industry?
So one of the best pieces of advice that I've gotten from my mentors in this field is every once in a while, whenever you feel the need to, being like a month, every 2 months or so, is map out who you are and what your values are. So you never lose them, because it's so easy to lose it, especially in what I do. Like you can like veer from the path, and we've seen that so many times with so many different people, right? But if you map out like where you are in life, what your identity is, and what it means to you, and what your values are, and why you are there, then you will never lose that path. And like that's one of the ways that like I keep myself grounded, because one of the values is do right by other people and stay right by your faith, because the rules in the religion are there for a reason, and they're there to like guide. And so that's like a concrete method that I keep with. Like if I bring out my journal, like it's literally just like 8 pages of just like December of 23, January of 24, and it's just like it's like different instances where I would just map out like what my values are, like that. That
No, I mean
was
that's a beautiful, and I think
uh-huh.
that's just a good sort of life lesson as
Hmm.
well. I've had earlier guests before you and asked them, very similar
Hmm.
questions in relation to their specialty, and
Yeah.
received responses that were really just practical examples.
Hmm.
So that's a very practical example
Hmm.
to do in your personal life as
Hmm.
well. To remind yourself who you are, and of
Yeah.
course, Islam, beautiful, right?
Hmm.
It gives us that's why we have prayer 5 times a day. We have
Yes.
our,
Hmm.
especially in Shia, we have tons of events throughout the
Hmm.
year, from the
Yeah.
shahadats to the
Hmm.
viladats and
Yeah.
Ramadan, and I mean,
Hmm.
you name it, right?
Yeah.
So
And
that's
those keep you connected to the
yep,
community. That's the second way, where it's just being present, right? Like
sure,
a lot of the success I have to attribute to just being present. Like that's half the battle. And so like
jazakallah.
if you show up,
Just
if you
show
just
up.
yeah, if you show up and if you are present, right, it keeps you in that space that you are in.
Jazakallah.
And so you can keep it even subconsciously, like in your mind, where
It
it's like,
absolutely does. I
yeah.
mean, I've seen it in my own personal life
Hmm.
as well. And again, we've heard it from the member
Hmm.
so many times that just being there, right? I mean, you hear it a lot about the kids when the kids in the back like running
Yeah.
around. Like it's
Uh-huh.
okay, let
Hmm.
them. They're
Yeah,
here,
yeah.
right?
Uh-huh.
It has that effect.
Yeah,
So no,
they're forging
subhanallah.
bonds. They're making a
Yeah,
community with
absolutely.
each other.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're playing in the house of
Uh-huh.
Allah, right?
Yes,
So
yes.
what other better place to play at?
Uh-huh.
So really, I feel like we can probably keep going with
Hmm.
the first segment, as this is probably very entertaining and very informational for myself.
Hmm.
But we're going to close off the first segment and
Hmm.
go into the exciting second segment, which is our rapid fire. So rapid fire, again,
Hmm.
are a set of just questions
Hmm.
that I will shoot at you with the
Hmm.
expectation that the first thing that comes to your mind,
Yeah.
you respond with. It's meant to
Hmm.
be rapid.
Yeah.
And there's going to be some fun questions
Hmm.
in there. And if you start taking too long, I'll call you out.
Okay.
But are you ready for the first one?
Yep.
And I'm going to come out firing, right? And this
Okay.
is related to all of this interest that you have in
Sure.
life. So, first
Hmm.
one, best US president of all time.
It's one that we never had.
Oh,
Bobby Kennedy.
Bobby
Yeah,
Kennedy.
JFK's brother. He ran. He was assassinated, unfortunately, right before he won the primary. But he was the person that said, "Politics is still a noble profession. It still is." And I genuinely believe that. Like,
Jazakallah, yeah.
yeah,
Based on all of
just
your commentary, yes.
yeah, what he stood for and what he was all about. Like, it's very inspirational, and I believe we would have been a very different country had he lived.
Okay.
Mhm.
Bobby Kennedy. Yeah. No, well, we'll stick with that answer. Okay. Let's go with best unbiased news source.
I would say on the state level, on just the Georgia and by extension the South, the Atlanta Journal Constitution, the AJC.
AJC.
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. So sticking in that same
Mhm.
realm, breaking news is happening.
Yes.
Something crazy is
Mhm.
happening, whatever it may
Yeah.
be. Where is
Mhm.
Akbar going to go
Mhm.
get his news?
All over the place. Like
Okay.
like every single like media bias is really
Are,
big
are
right
you
now.
gonna open it?
Uh-huh.
So I'm sorry,
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna dive a little bit deeper
Okay.
there.
Okay. Okay.
You pull out your phone, you just heard from
Uh-huh.
someone like, oh my God, dude, did
Yes.
you hear this happened?
Hmm.
You open, you get your phone.
Hmm.
What app, where are you going to
Mhm.
first?
So I start off with AJC.
Okay.
That's the first one because it's very local. Like it says like this is how Georgia will be affected, right? This is how Gwinnett County may be affected, right?
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. From there, I go to different sources, like whether it be right leaning, left leaning, center, even foreign news.
Sure.
Yeah, like stuff from Europe, stuff from the countries as well.
Reuters, all those
Yeah,
places. Yeah.
because you get to see the full picture. Like media bias is extremely intense right now, right?
Okay.
And so like I feel like it is people's duty to kind of get both sides and to see like, okay, so this is how it affects from their perspective, this is how it affects from their perspective. And so I can see the entire picture.
Okay.
Yeah. It's not easy. I'm not saying it is.
Sure.
Right? Yeah.
No, but I mean, I think
Yeah.
that's a very
Uh-huh.
good like advice as well in
Mhm.
general, right? That
Yeah.
sure. I mean, like for
Mhm.
example,
Yeah.
we may pull out our TikTok as itself, for example, such a big source
Mhm.
in today's world, and it's going to just be more and more, right? Social media in general. But it's good to, again, good advice to get the holistic picture from all sorts of views.
Yes.
You may not personally align with the left view or
Right.
or the right view,
Yeah.
but whatever topic is going on, it's good to understand. And,
Yeah.
and again, just coming back to our own faith, that's actually
Yes.
what's also recommended as well. So
Yes.
great answer.
Mhm.
I'm going to switch gears on you here just a little bit. You are obviously born and raised here.
Mhm.
So you have one place to go eat. Where are you going?
There's a new small business. There's a small restaurant up in
Okay.
Buford called Fusion Asian Bistro.
Of course, Gwinnett County.
Yes, right. Up in Buford is Fusion Asian Bistro. Okay,
Okay.
it's owned by it's owned by a Muslim family from Indonesia, right? And that's one of the few places of getting like halal Chinese food within this state. And they're wonderful people. Like I've held events there. I've gone there really often. I've invited like guests and other people there. There are so many legislators that have gone through those doors, right? And so many people even from our communities that have gone through that restaurant. And so like shout out to them.
Shout out to I'm sorry, what was the name again?
Fusion Asian Bistro.
Oh, that is the actual name.
That is the name.
Okay, Fusion Asian Bistro. Shout out. Okay. Okay, so I'm gonna really make your mind think here, so I can really give you a pickle here. Tell me a favorite ayah or hadith that resonates with you in your personal life. Of course, every ayah, every hadith from our imams are beautiful and abundant with a lot of messaging. But what's one that just resonates with you?
The first one that comes to mind is by Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. I believe the translation went, always seek knowledge, even unto China. Yes. And at the time, China was seen as like edge of the world,
Sure,
like far distant land. And like the meaning of that, where it's no matter where you are in life, no matter what you do, even if you specialize in a field or something like that, right? You should always try and seek more and to expand who you are.
Yes.
Yeah. Like I watch like documentaries on nature that has nothing to do with who I am, right?
Sure, yeah.
But that like anything from like if you're like an engineer, if you're a mechanical engineer, right, then you should be out here watching paleontology documentaries and reading articles about like the ocean.
Yeah, keep expanding. Yes, and go deeper.
Exactly,
for sure.
Like no matter where you are or who you are.
Yeah, no, it's just reminds me of so there's so many ayahs that have been attributed to Imam Ali alayhi salam himself. The whole Quran, is really attributed to him. But of course, there's a few ayahs that are specific calling him out. So I'm sure you've heard this hadith before. I've heard it from the member. But there was someone, one of his sahabis had asked Imam Ali himself that, hey, Ali, there's so many ayahs, in like Aapki Shan mein, right? Like, which one do you like the most, right? And all these. So his response to that was Surah Ra'ad, and it's the last ayah of Surah Ra'ad. And it goes, Kul kafa billahi shaheedan bayna wa baynakum wa ma indahu ilmul kitab, which basically translates to, and this is what Imam Ali chose, so just kind of going off with what you were mentioning, is that he who has been given knowledge of the complete book. And it's also references when Asif bin Barkia was able to, at the blink of an eye, go get Queen of Sheba's throne within a blink of an eye. And the call out of how he was able to do that was because he was given a piece of knowledge of the book. And Imam Ali is saying that I have the complete knowledge of the book. So again, just harping back on knowledge, but beautiful. So last question of the rapid fire session here. So you need to phone a friend. It may be something that you just personally need, you need some help, whatever it may be. Sure. You have a lot of uncles and like your personal family. Yeah. Who are you calling? I'm reluctant to pick anyone. It's like I'm playing favorites. We're gonna watch it. I'll say Hassan uncle from Darevas. Okay. Yeah. Like some of my earliest memories. So you kept family out of it? Yes. That doesn't mean I don't value Hassan uncle. Like he's been there all the time, and there was one moment where I remember when I was younger, like I would always think like, why is he so hard on me? All this stuff. Why is he like he's like a hot He's still like that. But love you as an uncle. Yeah, but something I realized was I believe it's because like he really truly cares. Yes. And he will always be like, when I had back surgery a couple years ago, right? Like middle of the night, like 4 or 5 a.m., like right before the surgery, like there was only immediate family, like he was there as well, like to come support. Yeah. Mashallah. And like that means a lot, and that always will mean a lot. Of course. Yeah. No, subhanAllah. Akbar Ali, thank you so much for accepting our invite and coming on to our show. Of course, if there's any questions for Akbar, you can reach out to him directly. You can DM us on our page. Inshallah, we'll have many more conversations, and we'll see you next time on Up Close and Shia podcast. Assalamu alaikum and Khuda Hafiz.